my experience, CPU, and it does hug up some resources. And I don't know if you want to install it on a small business, a server while it's doing other things. But all right. And what's the tool from GFI called, Matt?
We use GFI Remote Management, I think it's called.
Okay. GFI
Uh,
Remote
Let me see if
Management.
I can log into my console here.
Yep, and I have it on my screen now. GFI Max Remote Management.
Yeah, that's it. So we have we use it for our service agreement customers that also go into the managing. But yeah, they have you load an agent on the workstations or servers, and you can monitor many things. And one of them is if it's not responding or if it doesn't check in once. If you configure that check, if it doesn't check in, it'll alert you. But it's not that expensive. I think the server, if you sign up for this thing, I think a server workstation license maybe $1 a month. So there's a cost involved with this.
Okay,
Of course, you
and
can pass that cost on to your client for monitoring.
sure. And then there's a 30-day free trial that you can definitely check out. And James, and congrats on starting a business. Wish you the best, sir. Next email is a long one from Jeff. It says, "Hey Matt, I was wondering if you have any thoughts on supporting people working as IT people for medium organizations. Little information on myself. I am a one-man IT department for a medium-sized manufacturing facility that runs 24/7 and has about 75 to 100 workers. They have an old and tired SPS 2003 box that's housing 3 or 4 critical LOB applications and factory automation software, plus paycheck and HR functions, not to mention as a file server for all shared files and map drives. That server's doing a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
I was I was relieved to see that it wasn't using as change when I got there. Yeah, I guess that's one plus. I am pretty well versed in Active Directory and server migrations. Haven't done too many server migrations, but I know enough to do on my own. I have had a trusted acquaintance who runs a consulting business like yourself out for a quote on helping me migrate this environment. My plan is to have someone help and be there during this migration in case something goes really wrong with this old domain controller. I don't trust it at all and would like a second line of support available if anything big happens. Not only that, with both of us working on a project, this might take less time. How would you approach this request if someone like a full-time IT person approached you with this job? Again, things were really tangled when I got this job 2 months ago. I'm trying to bring this company into a manageable status and figure I could use some contract help doing so, and I have no one on staff who knows anything about anything, and it's a big job in my opinion. Oh yeah, I thought I would also mention that I would also like to take a vacation once in a while and be able to go far away. The second line of support would sit in for me while I was gone for big issues and problems like a disaster or something. I'll probably pay him a block of time per month to be available for emergencies and make sure he was able to be on call while I was away for whatever fee it was. Um, so I imagine this would be a common scenario, where you run into an issue and there's something that you can't figure out and you need some outside support. Or like he said, how many of these one-man shops they want to go for on vacation for a week or two. Or
Yeah,
travel.
that's definitely a problem for one man shops, smaller shops, because of course you have a life. Of course you want to go on vacation. You get sick, things happen. You can't be there all the time. It's definitely uh, um, a disadvantage for smaller shops.
Sure.
Um, so we do have some clients like this that they have IT staff and they want us as backup. Now, we treat them like any other customer for the most part. We offer a service agreement. If they don't want it, then they can call in and get in the queue just like everybody else. And it's prioritized by what the problem is, how many people it's affecting, this and that. So if you don't have a service agreement and your server's down, well, you'll go to the top of the list of people who don't have service agreements but also have servers down. So, it, you'll be ahead of somebody without a service agreement who can't print, basically, or
Okay.
something like that. Now, a service agreement customer that can't print still won't take priority of a non-service agreement customer whose server is down. Because the service agreement customers, the way we, first of all, I have so many texts, somebody can probably go and take care of the printer. But if I had all texts taken up and those two calls came at the same time, the printer would wait, even though it's a service agreement customer.
Sure, and because you have some sort of and priority. I mean,
yeah, it's so much for mission critical outages. It's not that we're going to jump every time you say I can't print. I mean, that can wait. It's not mission critical. Now maybe if it's I can't print payroll checks and everybody's waiting for payroll checks, yeah, that's different. We would take care of that first. But again, I got enough text where that's usually not a problem. So if a company came to me like this, is a one-man shop, or it doesn't really matter if it's a one-man shop or not, because most of the people that we do this for have IT staff and we're their backup. So more than one person on their IT staff. They call us when they get into a bind or they're too busy and things come up. But if they want a service agreement, it's structured like anything else. Blocks of time per month. Use them or lose them. There's no rollover minutes. It's not centennial.
Okay.
Use it or lose it.
Now, let's talk about pricing real quick. Do you give them a price break because they're more technical customers, or do you charge them more? And you don't have to give a dollar figure, but what's your thought on that?
Okay, so if it really depends on the client.
Okay.
If it's a client that keeps screwing things up and they call us to fix their mistakes, I'm going to charge them advanced support, which is a much higher rate.
Okay.
If they call because I just can't get to this problem and it's a normal problem, standard rate.
Gotcha.
If it's a scheduled project, normal rates. They only get charged a high rate if they screwed it up and they want me to fix it.
Okay.
That's the higher rate.
Gotcha.
Now the tricky part about this is being on call, and all these clients that we're their backup support, we're their backup support. Meaning if there's after hours work to do or holiday work or whatever, that's for them to do. They're the employees of the company.
Sure.
They can stay after hours. They can work nights, weekends, whatever. We're not doing that. We're normally 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, no holidays. Now we do work in those times if needed, but of course the rate's higher and it's usually scheduled. And it's usually for customers that don't have their own IT staff.
Sure. And then if you're asking at home, why would an IT staff be working at night? Some scenarios, that server runs a production piece of software, so you can't take it down when there are folks during work hours, and you're forced by management most of the time to take that server down at night after hours.
Right. So it's much easier in my position if you have an IT staff in a company, that company expects you to keep them up during business hours. So it's just common for them to do things after hours.
Sure.
Now, as opposed to me, we need to upgrade this on the server. Okay, when do you want me to do it? Pick your time. 8. We're open 8 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, can we do it after hours? No, absolutely. We can schedule that. It's just going to be time and a half. Whoa. What, time and a half? Right. It's our after hours rate, time and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I guess we can do it during lunch. Okay, that's better. So,
I mean, you'll find out that most the businesses won't mind. I'm gonna just pick on Fridays, right? I had a client that I used to have a client that didn't mind having, if I had to bring everything down on a Friday, because that was a slower day. It wasn't that busy for them as a business, and they were okay with that. So anything major, it would have to happen on a Friday. But like Matt's saying, if you do after hours, charge those rates.
And I don't schedule anything major on a Friday afternoon, because if it goes wrong, I'm not working all weekend to fix it.
There you go.
So when customer tells me there's a major upgrade, can we do it Friday at 3? I'll give them the option. Okay, here's what's going to happen. I estimate this will take an hour if things go well. If it doesn't go well, I'll clean it up Monday. oh, we can't be down. I said, well, then let's reconsider the Friday afternoon thing because I, I'm not gonna. If I'm available to work that weekend, I'll tell them. I'll still say we'll clean it up Monday. And then if he
Sure.
says, "Well, we can't do it. We need it up by Monday," I'll say, "Well, then if it goes wrong, then overtime rates will apply."
Well, sure. And then, and Matt has a great point. I was talking more in router upgrade or some smaller type of upgrade, but if you're doing a migration, I mean, you definitely don't want to start that baby Friday at 1 p.m.
No.
So
Server migrations I usually like to start Monday or Tuesdays. Um, Depend on the migration. Some doesn't matter because some migrations they don't notice anything anyway. So,
mhm.
um, but it's the on-call thing that really is the sticking point because if a client told us we want you to be our backup, first of all, what does on-call mean? Because to me it means 8 to 5. But if they're 24/7 and they want me to be on call, I don't even know if I would agree to that.
Yeah, I mean, because where I work at now, we again, larger company, so we take rotations being on call, and I don't like being on call, and and because that phone rings, like, oh, did I miss a call? Like, who is it? Is it some VIP? But again, you know your clients, and you know the rates, and that you charge, and you kind of set this up there for yourself. If you know at Benz's that there has to be some downtime, don't sugarcoat it. Don't shorten your time. Play yourself safe and say, you're gonna be down during this. If they are gonna be down.
Yeah, and an on-call fee. If I was gonna accept such a thing, an on-call fee or an on-call
Such a thing,
response time,
if it
yeah,
existed.
it would have to be a significant fee because when you're on call, you're paid to be there.
Hmm.
So I can't go do something. I can't go out with friends. I can't go
That's
to a
right.
movie for 3 hours. I can't do this because I'm on call. So even if no calls come in, there's got to be a fee for that.
Sure.
And I would probably structure it as an on-call fee or for however many hours I'm on call. And then if I actually get called, it's more because I'll have a reduced rate to wait for a call. But if I get a call, it's more. It's more for
Gotcha.
that call. And a lot of companies don't like that. I'm also going to mention that server seems really overworked. One
Extremely.
server running those, he said, what, 4 line of business applications?
Yes, 4 major applications. Paycheck, which is payroll. Payroll. People get paid
File
off this
sharing.
thing.
I had a client recently, almost the same thing, 3 or 4 critical applications, all their software on an SBS 03 box, and about 75 to 100 people. Now, one, of course, they're stretching the limits of the SBS 75 user because it's technically supposed to be 75 users. And no exchange, which surprises me because that's one of the best things about small business server is to have exchange server.
It's like having a nice Dodge Challenger, but no AC.
Living in Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
So this, I mean, I would recommend probably 1 to 2 servers for their line of business applications, another server for Active Directory. I mean, this is not a one server solution, or it should not be a one server solution in this particular business.
No, especially it being was this the one that said they was really old, or was that the other email?
He said old and tired.
Yeah,
SBS.
that's right.
So
That's right. So
yeah. Another thing, if we're doing for the companies that we're doing support for, backup support for their IT staff, they have to have really good documentation about everything that I can be called for. I can't be called about there's certain line of business application is doing this. Okay, well, what happens when it happens? Do I have a support number to call? Am I expected to fix it? Well, everything's got to be documented for a second line of support to come in and be of any use.
sure. I mean, because think about this scenario. A Matt Rennie gets called at 9:30 p.m. at night. The application doesn't start. application